It is mailbag time. Here are the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. It is time to answer the questions you guys submit to us on our live shows each and every Tuesday. We react to them in real time. Got a lot of trade ideas that people have thrown out there. I've already taken a sneak peek and seen some of the questions that you guys are asking about Jaire Alexander, DeAndre Swift, just to name a few. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with our first question. Tony, you are in the mailbag. You're leading us off today, man. I'm excited for the draft, Tyler. You know it's my favorite time of year. But what if KC misses one thing? We don't slack in the season. Yeah, so I think what Tony's trying to say is, what if they don't get this right? And then what? Then what do you do? Well, I'll say this. Brett Veach has been very good about course correcting. And if things aren't going right, and if they do not get a draft right, and even though Brett Veach has a fantastic record when it comes to his draft choices, he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. Shout out Hannah Montana. They can make changes accordingly. And I would say that if there's a glaring need, you're still going to have free agency going on. You're going to have some cap casualties coming up soon. You'll have the June 1 cuts. And then, of course, the trade market is always a possibility as well. So even if they don't take care of everything, because you can't really take care of everything, I think there's still hope that things could work out in this team, be fine. And I look at this roster, and I think there's a really good chance that it's going to be even better than what it was last year, which seemed impossible with the salary cap situation the Chiefs found themselves in when this offseason began. Folks, want to make sure not only you're subscribed to the Chiefs Report, but you're also a part of the Noti Gang. Those are the folks that have their notifications turned on, and they're the first to know when we have new content here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Stay in the loop. That way you can join us for a live show, whether it's breaking news, when we have a brand new video, you're the first to know when we are bringing you content here on the Kansas City Chiefs Report. Subscribe now for free. Turn on notifications, hit that Noti bell, and join the Noti Gang. YouTube.com/Chiefs TV to subscribe now. Join the family. If you're part of that Noti Gang, spam Noti Gang in the comments, and we'll continue here with today's show. CPR Rods writes in, what are the odds that we get Tyreek? And are we going for D-end or running back? So I do not think the Dolphins are trading Tyreek Hill. I would like to have Tyreek Hill, and I don't think you're going to have to give up an arm and a leg to trade for him when it comes to draft capital because he's in his 30s now. He is a bit older, and his numbers were down a bit from last year. But I do not think they're moving on from him. However, we're keeping tabs. Things could change pretty quickly. Maybe he makes it known he wants out. He doesn't seem like the happiest camper there. There could be a possibility. And then the money situation, it's tough, but it can be done on that front. What I'm looking more towards is 2026. Tyreek is likely going to be a free agent, and maybe it's time to come home and finish your career in Kansas City and reunite with Patrick Mahomes. I don't think 2025 is likely, but 2026, I wouldn't rule out on the Tyreek front. As far as D-end or running back, I think D-end gets addressed in the draft pretty early. I would expect that to be a day 1 or day 2 pick. Running back, I think, is a day 3 selection, but they will draft both those things, I think, as far as that goes. KC Kingdom writes in, could the Chiefs make a trade for Jaire Alexander? So it's funny that you bring this up because there's been discussions about Jalen Watson and his future, that he could potentially be on the trade block, as it seems unlikely that the Chiefs are going to be able to re-sign both McDuffie and Jalen Watson. And Watson would then likely be the odd man out. And you've already brought in Christian Fulton potentially. Maybe there's a world where you could do a trade where you send Watson to Green Bay in exchange for Jaire Alexander. I could see that potentially happening and try to make your draft capital potentially work in that sense, to make a move there. But That would be the door I would leave open. Is it likely to happen? Probably not, but never say never. And Alexander's coming off a pretty decent season, even though he only played in 7 games. And he's got some injury problems, as does Jalen Watson. He was good in the 7 games he played. 2 picks, 7 pass breakups, had a pick 6, 16 tackles. If you're looking for an alternative, that might not be a bad solution for Kansas City to potentially put a package together there. What do you think about the idea of trading for Jaire Alexander? It's our pinned comment today. You got 2 options, either type T for trade, P for pass. Weigh in, let us know. Today's show is sponsored by GameTime. GameTime is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sport events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, GameTime has got you covered. GameTime makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app will actually go down the closer it gets to first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. GameTime is the official ticketing partner of the Chiefs Report. And with GameTime, they have last-minute deals. You can save up to 60% off buying last minute for sports, concerts, comedy shows, theater productions, and more. GameTime Picks makes last-minute ticket buying even easier than ever by quickly highlighting the best deals in the stadium. They have their zone deals where you save even more when you choose a selection and let GameTime choose the seats. They have their all-in pricing where you toggle this feature and it shows the total up front with no surprise fees at checkout. They have their seat views. Get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price is guaranteed, or GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code ChatSports, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Get tickets to Royals games. They're cheap, folks. We got a great deal on them. What are you missing out on? You got to get your tickets with a GameTime to go see your Kansas City Royals as well as other events in KC. $20 off with promo code ChatSports. Link is in the comments and description of today's video. Why me writes in, hashtag Chiefs. Tyler, hi. Since we got Juju back, what do you expect him to be like? Do you think he'll help block in the run game? Yeah, I think so. The production wasn't really there with Juju. He had that one really good game against the Saints, and that was about it. I think what you're hoping for with Juju is, hey, can he help out with blocking in the run game, and can he go off for a few games here and there, especially with the concerns that the Chiefs have at the receiver position with his health for one, Hollywood's health, if those guys are going to hold up. People don't like to talk about it, but there could be a suspension for Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy, and Rashee Rice is coming off an injury. You just hope that he can step up if other guys aren't there. I don't need Juju to go off for 50 receiving yards in every single game. I just need him to step up when other guys are out. And if he does that, that'll be a success. Chiefs Forever writes in, would it make sense to trade for DeAndre Swift? So it seems like the Bears are looking at moving on from DeAndre Swift potentially. And he had a solid season in Chicago, rushing for nearly 1,000 yards, close to 4 yards a carry, 6 touchdowns. But I don't like trading for older running backs, giving up capital to bring these guys in. I really don't. I want fresh legs. I want guys that are going to be ready with that burst. And I don't know how much DeAndre Swift is going to have left in him. And even though he had a decent year last year, his yards per carry was the lowest total in the last 4 seasons, as you see on your screen there. So I think the Chiefs very well could bring in another running back. I think that's more of a draft area to fix rather than a trade or free agency as far as that goes. But, yeah, I'm out on the idea of trading for Swift. Should the Chiefs trade for DeAndre Swift? What do you think about that idea? You're not going to have to give up much, but you will have to give up something. Type Y for yes, in for no. Tell me if you'd trade for Swift or not. Got time for a couple more questions here. Let's start with Mike Nintendo Master. Would you trade up for an O-lineman? I would, but it all depends on how the board shakes out. You don't want to be in a situation where you're trading up and you're trying to get ahead on things, and then you look back and you realize, oh, we could have had Simmons or Zabel or Connerly or one of these guys when you were at 31 and give up something to move up. So I do think you need to address the offensive line, and that should be your priority for your first-round pick. But you got to finagle the board, and you got to see how the board goes. If there starts to be a run on offensive linemen, then you probably need to be aggressive and trade up. If the run doesn't happen, then you might chance it and be better off just waiting to see who's around at 31. All depends on how the board plays out. Last question. Tony writes in. He started this mailbag. He gets in this mailbag. Tyler, I heard so much talk from KC getting a new stadium. I know the deal is due 2031, but you see when they make that agreement of staying in KC-Mo or going, I think he means to Kansas. That's a loaded question. I'll tell you what. The momentum on this is a very good question, Tony. The momentum seems to be on the Kansas side because the Kansas side is being proactive and they're throwing out more money than the Missouri side is at this point. If the Chiefs stay in Missouri, I think it's a renovation project of Arrowhead to modernize the stadium and do that. If they move to Kansas, then it's going to be a dome with the idea of hosting Super Bowls and Final Fours and college football playoff games and big concerts. And I think Mark Donovan even already mentioned maybe stealing away the Big 12 championship, bringing it back away from Dallas. I think right now the momentum is on the Kansas side, but this could all change. There's still a lot to figure out and a lot of politics that's beyond my pay grade. But if you made me choose of what's likely going to happen, I think the Kansas side is the more likely solution at this point because the money's there and they're being proactive compared to the Kansas side of things. Appreciate you joining us here at the Kansas City Chiefs Report for continuing Chiefs coverage. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/ChiefsTV. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.